Carrying in progress.
I
I'm going to
hope.
keep
Okay.
this up.
Okay. Okay. Hello. Welcome back. The Queen is dead. I'm Sanjeet. I have Dhruv, Amartya, and Aryan with me. And today we'll jump right into the topic that we're going to talk about is our favorite Indian films that excludes the Hindi films that we've already spoken about. This includes films that have released in the year 2021 and mostly belong to other regional languages but Hindi. So yeah, I mean a lot of favorites, a lot of new stuff that has probably overshadowed all the mainstream Hindi stuff and deservedly so.
Yeah,
Um, I
exactly.
mean, there's no question about the quality. There was no question. I think it's more about the reach now that it has. So people talk about those films more often.
Can I, like,
Except if
just
it's
before
discipled.
we dive into like the whole thing, can I ask,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm clearly the one who's like watched the least from regional cinema, but like, do you
Hmm.
think they've like embraced the whole streaming stuff much better than Bollywood? Like Bollywood is just a bit whatever about it.
I
Go ahead.
I don't think it's a streaming mentality per se. It's more of the fact that Bollywood did not want to release anything.
Hmm.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
were
yeah.
too gun shy about it.
Got it. Got it.
They
I
were
mean, yeah, they were being themselves only. I don't think so. They
yeah,
tried.
exactly.
Yeah,
As in Bollywood was being Bollywood.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, because I know we are not going to talk about this movie, but I absolutely love this movie. Like Master, right? Master
Hmm.
released
yeah.
when? January?
You and I quite like it. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, January or Feb. It came out during the height of that COVID era,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It made a shit ton of money. No,
Even a film like Karnan, which came out in theaters
Hmm.
right before the second lockdown actually started,
Like
it
the
still
really
managed to
bad
make
one.
tons
yeah,
of
yeah. Just before
Hmm.
ton
that.
of money before, and that was just barely 2 weeks in theater.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's an achievement I feel in itself.
Yeah.
They were
And I
gun shy,
mean,
and then there were people like Rohit Shetty who just wanted Suryavanshi to release on theaters because otherwise
yeah,
nobody will like it,
I
which is
mean, a lot
true
of people
actually,
watched it though, right? In
which is
yeah.
almost.
true,
I
which is
mean, the
true.
only thing is because they have to pay a lot of interest on the budget that they've
Exactly.
had, right?
Hmm.
So
Got it.
it was imminent that they should have a good release, make money because they really depend on that kind of
Hmm.
big budgets and all of that.
It was
And
good apparently, right?
what?
The
Sorry.
money or the movie?
Both. Both.
The money
But
was good. The movie was shit. That's
Okay.
neither here nor there.
okay, but 83 though is going to face a lot of losses now. That's what I've been reading.
Bad movie, bad reception.
But I
Anyways.
mean, still,
No, I don't think it's even about that. Correct me if I'm
yeah.
wrong, but didn't most of the money go to the players to secure their rights for their likenesses or something?
I don't know what was the breakdown in general,
Hmm.
but the whole cost of the production is 240 crores, which is like massive
Jesus. I
for
mean,
one
it does
film.
look good. It's not a bad looking film. So,
So
like, it is like the
production wise,
production
and
production
yeah,
quality is not gold. Do you remember Rima Kakti's Gold, which looked like you
yeah,
were
yeah,
playing like Cricket
exactly.
07, the EA Sports version on like
Fuck.
a computer or something? Beep incoming.
Deep incoming. Yep.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay.
Anyways, we will digress.
Uh,
Yes, go Sanjeet.
so we'll go with our individual films, what we like, and then we'll probably get into what we all share love for in general, like the
Yeah,
common films that we have in our list.
yeah.
So yeah, I think Amartya, you can go with your individual films, the films that you've liked from India.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just going to clarify something. Is Drishyam 2 with anyone? Drishyam 2 is in anybody's list or it's
No, no,
in
it's not in my list.
okay.
I watched it. I
I mean, I liked
liked
it,
it
but
quite a
it's
lot, but yeah, it's
not
not
in my top
my
five.
top five. Yes.
Didn't
Okay.
watch it.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
Cool. So chalega.
Yeah,
Like Dhruv is the odd one out here.
yeah, clearly.
Clearly.
Used to it now.
So
I,
yeah,
I don't mean it in the contrarian way. ठीक है ना? मतलब just say.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So Drishyam 2, I think I love Drishyam 2 for one specific reason, and that is I don't think Drishyam 2 was a necessary movie to make first and foremost. I think the first one was perfect as it is.
Hmm.
ठीक है ना? So the fact that they made a sequel was very skeptical thinking, even for me. I was like, why are you doing it?
Hmm.
The thing which helped me in this case is that they did a sequel, and like most sequels, like say, I'm going to make a very bad example here. Say the Hangover sequels of whatever. ठीक है ना?
Hmm.
They are resting on the laurels of the first film and basically rehashing the first film to a certain
Yeah,
extent.
yeah.
Drishyam doesn't do that. Drishyam logically extends, right? It takes place after 6 years.
Hmm.
It spends a lot of time showcasing what has happened because the event that has happened, it tries to be realistic, right? The events of the first film actually affected the family as a result.
Hmm.
So it spends a lot of time, I think over an hour, just dealing with that, building up to it, repercussions of that entire first movie itself. So
Hmm.
that might be a bit of a slow pace for a lot of people, but I think the end of the first half, what happens at the end of the first half, that pivot suddenly transforms that movie into something else.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
absolutely love that pivot because I felt as if that twist, I I don't think I did not expect it, but it was like if a twist is well done,
Yeah.
Hmm.
you can actually
Well done,
appreciate the
yeah.
execution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this case, the twist was very well done, and that's why what happened subsequently, I absolutely loved, because by that point I felt that the build up to everything was building up well, everything was going to a logical state. So and the way it ended, the ending was also very ambiguous too.
Let's not give it away too much.
No, I'm not giving away anything. I'm just saying
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Best not
No,
to
no, I
give
know, I
away
know.
anything.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
not giving away anything. So it's like, if people were worried that a movie like that which has been remade so many times because it's a
Hmm.
classic for a legitimate reason, whether they should watch it or not, I
Hmm.
think they should.
Can I ask a separate question? I've only watched the Hindi version. So
Chalega,
if
chalega.
Same
no,
thing.
I want to watch the original, but like, how do you think the Hindi version is? Have you
It
guys seen
holds up.
it or
It
like?
holds up, yeah. Even I went into Drishyam to the new Mohanlal one after
Yeah,
watching the remake,
Ajay Devgan.
Ajay Devgan one, yeah.
Yeah,
And
But
it,
I
it
feel
holds
it's
up. Yeah.
better to watch the original one
original. Got it.
because
Yeah.
you'll
Yeah,
stay with those
because
characters.
and Mohanlal and specifically Mohanlal has some kicks, which
Mm.
if you're familiar with
Yeah, they're
his,
exactly. That's
Got it.
exactly what I want to say.
Got it.
yeah,
Amartya, yeah,
and
that's
Mohanlal is like,
exactly right.
damn,
Yeah.
god
Exactly.
damn,
He's
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 And
good in this
capable.
movie.
even though the film is not on my top five, I mean, how rare it is for a sequel that too
To be that good.
exact for a
Exactly.
sequel to appeal to so many.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
good. It is a well made film, no doubt. Especially the structuring of it all, the film
Mhm.
Yeah.
grammar used in the film, the camera blocking. That's the thing that made me. It gave me enough reason to stay invested even during that first hour, which is a slow burn.
Hmm.
But the
Yeah.
thing is that we are already rooting for these characters because we've seen what shit went down, right? And on
Yeah.
top
So
of that, the filmmaking doesn't betray those emotions. So it's all there. So you go with the flow, you trust the filmmaking. So
so
yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
sounds a lot like No Way Home.
Oh my god.
It isn't. Uh, Two other Peter Parkers don't appear out of a movie, so that's fine. Oops, spoiler. Anyway,
Okay.
okay.
Amartya. Second
Oh,
movie.
okay. So second movie. So Drishyam 2, definitely recommend. Please
Hmm.
watch it if people haven't. The next movie is Everything is Cinema. Great
Hmm.
title, by the way. Seriously, because everything is, especially to a cinephile. Anyway,
Yeah.
Hmm.
so Everything is Cinema is a. I think this is Don Palatra. So if people don't know who Don Palatra is, he has been making independent movies for a while now.
Hmm.
He made Shavam, like the 2015 movie Shavam, which some might argue it's the precursor to Lilo Jose Pelliceri's Ima Yo.
Mhm.
Okay.
Some might argue that. I think
Interesting.
Ima Yo is a much better movie, but
Hmm.
Shavam is also a very good movie. And So
He also made 1956 Central
Central
Travancore.
Travancore, yeah.
Yeah.
So everything is cinema is basically a lockdown movie.
Okay.
It's like, so during COVID, what this movie is showing is, I think, and I haven't seen the actual movie this is based on, but I'm pretty sure this is based on that movie. It's like Louis Malle made a 1969 documentary called Calcutta, right?
Mhm.
And I think Palatra, through his version of the filmmaker, is trying to recreate the documentary. Okay.
Mm.
So the conceit of the story is Chris is the documentarian.
Mhm.
He's trying to recreate that documentary by going to Calcutta himself with his wife and shooting a documentary about Calcutta.
So is it what, like meta to meta, like kind of a meta
It
thing?
starts off that way.
Very much sounds
Okay.
like that.
It starts off that way, but then suddenly the lockdown happens.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Then the lockdown happens and he's stuck there with his wife. Okay. And so his life gets interrupted, and him and his wife, who is an actress, they get stranded. Okay.
Mhm.
So what this movie is showing is that what happens when you are in an enclosed space for over 4 to 5 months, how much your emotional defenses get broken down.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
And like Palatra voices himself, like Chris, the character, is an exaggerated version of himself. Okay. And instead of filming Calcutta, the city, he starts filming his wife.
Okay.
Okay. And passing
Sounds
what
good.
can only be described as a color comment. Okay. Look at her. Look at what an actress she is. Okay. Like it's almost brazen. It's almost toxic. Okay. And he's like he's like remarking on his wife's insecurities. And
Mm.
it and how I'm describing it is very Spartan, because his dialogue is fantastic in this movie. It's
Mm.
like hilarious.
Mm.
The
Okay.
entire movie is very funny.
Mm.
Mm.
Like there is literally a scene, I think, in which
Mm.
the movie there is suddenly a black screen. Okay.
Mhm.
And like Chris is like saying to us, thank you, because we had bared with his, you know, speaking about it, and we had bared looking at his wife for so long. Like this black screen is for us. We are being given a moment of respite.
So it's very like audience addressed and like very, it's
Yeah.
like resting on those levels then, right? Like no,
Yeah,
rather
yeah,
than,
yeah.
Mm.
okay.
Mm.
Yeah. And the part of it is that because I think both Chris's voice, which Palatra himself is doing, as well as like Shireen Catherine, who plays Anita, Chris's wife, like
Mm.
she's so good,
Mm.
you start to feel sorry for her because you are being followed through by Chris, but then you start to realize through her acting that what you are seeing is not the true story. Like you
Ah,
are seeing his toxicity.
got it.
You are seeing how it affects
Mhm.
her.
Yeah. How old is Don Palatra?
I don't know, 35.
Because you know the weird thing, I'm sorry I'm making this regional episode into like reference points for like other films I've seen, because I've not seen a lot of these films, but like this sounds a lot like Abel Ferrara's latest works to
The
me, which is
zeros
like
and ones.
no, not that one. Tommaso with Willem Dafoe. Like
Ah,
it's
okay.
again like that same idea of a filmmaker creating a version of themselves, or like exaggerated version, and then
Mm.
casting their own wife actually in one of his films, and then making a drama around it and sort of addressing their own toxicities and problems and everything. So it sounds a lot like
Mm.
that to me, but yeah.
I think it also affected me in a bit because like the inside of the house, the entire movie, when it is shot inside, it's very black. It's fully black and white. It's grainy, right?
Yeah.
When it is shot outside, it's colored.
Okay. Sounds very interesting, honestly.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
intrigued. Yeah.
yeah. And also, I can't. When I literally did a hats off to Don Palatra for this. The movie ends with the usage of Ahista Ahista by Sanjeet Singh.
Okay.
Holy shit! I never thought somebody could use that song that way. It's like intense.
Okay.
Done.
I think
I'm there.
this would be a nice point to even this other film that we quite liked a lot, Sanjeet, which was Arkaryam. because that in
Hmm.
itself made COVID a part of its very world, And I think that
Yeah,
film,
I've heard
Yeah.
that.
even though that film is not, it's not even in my top five, I think that its minimalist approach of storytelling worked to its maximum. Because the
Yeah.
movie is about it, it's not just about the characters, it's about the very world that they inhabit. And the
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
it's brilliant, the subtle nuances that film captured, the family dynamics and the internal
Hmm.
politics of it all, the way it used tension, the way it used the world of the pandemic and the lockdown to create that tension into an already tension filled scenario, right? It's
Hmm.
it's
Mm.
Yeah.
it's it's minimalist approach to its best, and I think that's what a lot of low budget filmmaking thrives for. And kudos to Malayalam cinema, I mean, for that. I mean,
Hmm.
I'm someone who hadn't even watched the quite famous Malayalam films up until this year, up until 2021, which is movies like Kumbalgani Nights and all. And thanks
Hmm.
to the onset of OTT platforms and this brilliant exposure that we got,
Hmm.
I just can't get over Malayalam cinema now.
Mm.
Hmm.
There is another film I would like to plug because
Hmm.
Yeah.
since it is Palatra, he made two films this year which came out. The other movie which came out, it came out on eStream with Dhruv.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah, so that is called Joyful Mystery. I'm not going to actually try to pronounce the original Malayalam name because I'm going
Yeah.
to butcher it, so I'm not going to do that. So Joyful Mystery again is set during the lockdown.
Hmm.
The camera is a static camera. It's set inside the car. Okay, for the entire 85 minutes, and the story too is based on an entire single uninterrupted situation. Okay, and the
Hmm.
couple are driving, and their entire conversation is around unwanted pregnancy and the complications it may cause. Right.
Hmm.
So since there
Hmm.
is no traditional plot, the dialogues are all improvised.
Hmm.
So all of the dialogues and all of the characteristics, because I think they're improvised, they feel very relatable.
Mm.
Okay, and because of those dialogues, if dialogues are realistic or if dialogues feel relatable, internal characteristics come out anyway through your actions, through your dialogues.
Yeah.
Hmm.
In that regard, there is no plot, but the screenplay is very smart. Like
Mm.
each and every time an argument builds, it builds and builds until it crescendos, right?
Yeah.
The
Hmm.
crescendo occurs, and this is the fun part. The crescendo occurs, the car stops, one of the passengers get out of the car and pace around the car, while the other passenger sits.
Mm.
They're letting it slow down, simmer, 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 and
Yeah.
then they get into the car and then they start again.
Uh,
Mm.
yeah.
It's
I think I saw it until the second time this happens, and then yeah.
yeah, and then you are
Slept
like,
off.
leave it. Yeah, but it's more like I think I love the fact that none of these characters are one character is the only flawed one, the other character is the righteous one. It's
Mm.
not that both of these characters are flawed.
Yeah.
Jitin, like the guy starts off sounding like but he's like a pseudo progressive mentality which works within him, right? So he's
Hmm.
trying to dodge those arguments which she's putting at him very skillfully, but he's
Mm.
unable to,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So
Unfortunately, I haven't watched this film yet, but I loved Bhardwaj Rangan's review of this film.
yeah, so
Yeah.
Mm.
So now I'm even more intrigued since
yeah,
Amartya is talking about it.
Yeah.
More
it's like
intrigued for
more
everything in
intrigued now
cinema, actually.
apparently. Yeah.
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 uh,
Okay.
okay, so these are the two individuals ones I have. I think people
The
should
rest
watch
are
this. Yeah,
mostly common, right? Yeah.
yeah, rest are mostly
Okay.
common. Yeah.
Aryan, you go ahead with your individual.
Yeah. So other than that, I talked about Malayalam cinema, right? So the first film that I watched this year from that industry which is flourishing right now it was Joji, right? The Fahad Fazil starring
Joji is common, no?
Joji is common.
adaptation of Macbeth. Is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Has Dhruv watched it?
All of us.
I'm going to cut all of this, but go
It's
ahead.
kind of like my honorable mention though. So yeah, there's Joji and there's another film. I wanted to talk about this even when Amartya was talking about
Mhm.
cinema is life. What was that? What was that
Everything is
movie?
cinema.
Everything is cinema.
Everything is cinema, right? So have you guys watched or did you guys get to watch this Telugu film that came out on Netflix, Cinema Bandi?
No,
No,
but
I
I've heard
didn't
good
watch.
things.
Yeah, so Cinema Bandi is similar. Like I won't spend a lot of time talking about this movie, but Cinema Bandi is a similar, very joyful, optimistic take on the power
Feel
of
good.
cinema. Yeah, it's a
Count me
very feel
out.
good movie, and yeah, it's a very uh it's a very feel good, light-hearted movie that I think every one of you should watch. And yeah, other than that, there was this another Telugu film, which was one of the rarest of Indian films that I wish I could have watched it in a
Jati
theater
Ratnalu.
with a live audience. Yes, Jati Ratnalu. It was a
Yeah.
blast. It was a
Yeah.
blast from beginning to end. I was laughing. I was laughing my ass off. I love that film,
I
and
have a
especially
question.
loving Polish City. Yeah.
I have a question. Is the comedy like? Is it like the gross out comedy of Bollywood, or is the comedy actually fun?
No, no, no. It is very self-aware and
Yeah,
tongue-in-cheek,
yeah,
and it is very self-aware. That's the main.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Then
It
cool.
knows what it is. That's I think I have always been a sucker for such comedies, and even the jokes. After a point, you feel like you know those characters. Like each
yeah.
character, they have a very minimal setup, but they do things that would make sense. In terms of their own little crazy absurd arcs. It's a very self-aware fun movie, and it's like 2.5 hours long. So I was very skeptical before watching it, and it just flew by. It was amazing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's it, I guess. Now I think we have
No, you
common.
have Malik, no? Or Malik.
Mm.
Oh God.
Malik.
Malik.
Honestly, I know you need motivation to watch this film, Dhruv, but please, इतने भी ज़्यादा
Dhruv will do
expectations don't set
anything.
high.
I mean,
I
अंग्रेज चले गए मलिक को छोड़ गए is a bit too much of a joke at this point.
That wasn't even like intentional or planned or anything, was that actually was whatever.
So Malik remains my second favorite Indian film of the year, and it's just it's not just a milestone in gangster filmmaking for me. It's just the way it's structured. So it's structured.
Mm.
It's told from three different narratives, right? So even the three act structure, even in terms of the three act structure, it does something very unique. Okay, it doesn't work all the time, but the emotions that the film went at, the socio-political commentary that it was going at, I mean, it was amazing. In the end, I was shaking. That's how brilliant, that's how powerful the last act of the film was. I think maybe it's due to the fact that the themes that it was going for, they are deeply relevant, not just to the state of Kerala and to the politics in that state, but to the entire country. So I think those kind of movies always do the magic for me. And
Definitely
Malik, I've
universal.
only watched it once. It's super long. It's
Mhm.
2 hours 42 minutes, I guess, if I'm
45,
not
yeah.
wrong.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
but the more I think about it, I need to rewatch it. And I have this friend who's a Keralite, right? She sat me down and she explained to me the entire soundtrack of the film and how even the song used in the last act of the film, how poignant and how
Oh.
poetic that is. The lyrics of those songs are. So it's just little things like those. And I mean, Fahad Fazla and Nimisha Sajjan. I mean, it's just brilliant. That
Uh,
film.
I think
Uh,
Aryan, this movie has two long, straight sequences, right? 10 to 15
Yeah,
minute
yeah.
long.
Mm,
Yeah, long tracking shots. I think
yeah.
both in the beginning as well as the ending.
Not
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
ending, the final action thing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think.
Beginning of the
Yeah.
third act.
Yeah, I remember those two. Those two are
Hmm.
done exceedingly well. It's like intense.
Exactly.
And
And the thing is that even those, especially the first long take, right? The
yeah,
one in
exactly. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
first act, it's not just for the gimmick sake, right?
No, it's
Because
not.
it
No, it's not.
exact, and that's the brilliant of
It's building. It's like world building,
exactly.
subtly world building.
Yeah, Sanjeet, you talked about the structure, I think, when we talked about
Yeah,
Sardar Udham and how it was. You found it less successful, I think, right? Than
I did.
Aryan did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I spoke about it more in length in the Malik episode only, which we put
Yeah.
out when it came out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, most of my thoughts are there. But I had some problems of my own with the film. But it's not as if I didn't like the film. It was a good film, but not one of my favorites. So, but yeah, pretty good film. You can watch it.
Yeah. It is your turn, sir, to
Oh,
say
mine only.
or
Okay, so amongst the individuals, the only film that I have is Aryan, which was directed by Shanu Varghese. And I mean, I think Aryan already spoke about most of the points that I was about to list. That it's a very silent film in a sense. It's a slow burn thriller in a way. I mean, it is, and it takes place during the time of COVID, so everybody's home, like stuck at their houses and everything. So I mean, it's a fairly closer reality to us, but the film is not actually about that. It's a lot about like a certain mystery that you get to know way later in the film that happens. And it also talks about place of belonging and themes like that in general. So I think if you're down for like a slow burn film, I mean, actually you can't even put it in a thriller or a mystery category. You can just put it as a drama and it'll still work for you. But it's a really slow burn film in that sense.
Yeah.
Like it simmers very slowly. You have to get into the proceedings. But once you get in, I think you start living that world with them because it's that kind of a world.
Good.
So I really liked it much more than most people and much more than how I expected other people to react to it. It's a fairly quiet, calm film in a sense. And it's just the characters and the interplay in the relationships and everything.
Where is it?
It's there on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, and one other film as an additional thing that I like to put is Churuli, which I don't know if I should explain anything about the film. Just watch the film. That's it. Nothing.
I've
Just
heard
watch.
it's one of those films.
It's
I
one of
mean,
those.
whatever you expect from the film, nothing like that is going to happen. Or if you've ever seen a Liu Jo's film and you think he's going to make something, it's nothing like that. It is.
But that's good, right?
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. So I
It's
mean,
very-
just
it's-
watch it. No, nothing.
It's very gutsy. That's all I can say. That you are making movies like this, right? You make
Yeah.
you make like Ima, then you make Jalikat 2. Before that, you made Angamali Diaries. It's like you are shifting genres every second, and then you make
He's
Churuli.
made a musical also. In
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
like
there on-
you're shifting genres every second. Whether I like the movie or not is irrelevant.
At this,
It exists.
I think Churuli is more genre fluid at times.
Yeah,
than
at
you
times.
think it is. So I mean, but just watch Churuli. It's on Sony Live. So Sony Live had like a lot of the last 3-4 months. They had like a bunch of Malayalam Tamil films that came out, which I have missed.
I'm going to recommend one movie too from Sony Live. I'm sorry. I just remembered one.
Go ahead.
It's called Alpha Adimai. Wait a minute, let me check. Alpha Adimai. Yeah, it's super low budget. Okay.
Okay. I
It's
hadn't
like-
even heard of it.
Yeah, that's him.
I mean, that's
why-
what I'm saying because Sony Live had like a bunch of films that came out, which I didn't get a chance to watch any of them in the last 3-4 months. So most of my list is from stuff that I watched in the first half of the year, actually.
So Alpha Adimai is basically a gangster movie. Okay, and it's like it takes place within the span of a single night. Okay, it's like shoestring. I think it's an understatement how much of a shoestring budget it is, right?
Okay.
So it's a story of a guy who is he's working like an aide to a wheat supplier. Okay, so one day when his boss's place is supposed to get raided, he seizes an opportunity. Okay, so they kidnap so they take two rich guys hostage and they are going to escape. That's the basic plot. It's not that the movie's plotting is something intense or something, but it kept me hooked throughout. Okay.
Okay.
That's all I can say. You guys should watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a lot to watch. Seems.
So we'll jump into the common films that we all love. So We'll
No,
start
you
with
guys don't
Dhruv.
want to talk about Minnal Murli? That was part of Yoga is thing, I think. A bunch of yours.
Uh, I mean, yeah, I mean, but I feel it's fairly recent for me personally to
Okay.
put it in as
Your
my top
favorites.
favorite. But I
Hmm.
think it's easily amongst the top 10, if
Yeah.
not top 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good film, of course. I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
It's just that I feel I need more time with it.
Got it.
That's all. But I think,
Got
yeah, you should definitely watch Mendel Murli if you haven't. I mean, we
Yeah.
spoke about it at length also in the episode we lost.
How many
So,
times are we going to reference that episode?
I mean, it's just,
Love that episode.
yeah, those
Nell
episodes.
Murali is on my it's on my third position.
Hmm.
And yeah, for me, that film felt like a culmination to everything that Malayalam cinema was building towards, right?
Hmm.
Technically,
Yeah.
structurally, narratively. And it was like, it has some of the best world building, not just in any Indian superhero film I watched, but in any
Hmm.
superhero film I watched in a long, long time. And it's
Hmm.
like, it just made me realize this one thing, and it's very interesting that a lot of big budget superhero comic book films don't what they don't realize these days is that they miss onto the first
Hmm.
thing that made people come back to those films, right? It's like callbacks and cool punchlines are going to make your films fun, but it's the
Hmm.
emotions that would keep bringing people back to your film,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Minnal Murali just stays so true to the community building, right? I mean, the fact
Hmm.
that there's absolutely no sense of time or what period of time, what era the film is set in, that in itself takes the film to a whole another level.
Hmm.
Because you
Hmm.
get the sense that they wouldn't know what superheroes are. They wouldn't know what a Batman or a Superman, what a
Yeah. Yeah.
Batman
Yeah.
or a Superman would look like, right? And
Hmm.
it's just, it's so localized, and it's just, everything feels earned, man. The way the I mean, the only problem I have with Minal Murali is the uh, final 5-10 minutes, which I think are extremely rushed, and which it's just a disappointment that it's.
Is
I
it?
mean, it could have been a perfect movie for me in that genre, but the last 10 minutes was like extremely rushed, and I would have gladly enjoyed watching 10 minutes extra.
I mean, it's a fairly long film as well. I mean, 2 hours
Uh,
50
What
Yeah, but
minutes.
it
isn't
didn't feel long. It didn't
nowadays?
feel long.
yeah.
It didn't feel long for
Isn't
me.
it mentioned somewhere or something like that? It's set in the 90s or something? Middle Molly?
I mean, yeah, we discussed about it, right? Because even I was wondering what the time period of the film was, but it surely feels like 90s. I feel
Yeah, it feels like
because
90s.
it has that Amir Khan's poster
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
from
yeah.
Rangila and all of that. So
But
Again, second, again, see, I bring Malik, you bring Ram Gopal.
yeah,
Again. Yeah.
it's like the milieu of Minnal Murli is the big win, right? The
Mm,
fact
yeah,
that
yeah,
it's so well transported from a Western to an Indian context,
context. Absolutely.
especially in village, by the way.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
yeah.
it's a intensely hard to do. Whether anybody can realize that or not, that is intensely hard to do without making it look
Yeah.
completely shitty. So
exactly.
Mhm.
And even the stakes are super low, and the film embraces those low stakes because the megaphone in this film literally becomes like a CCTV footage carrying tape, right? It's
yeah,
not fancy infinity stones and all that shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Nice.
it's just so well contained.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't
good
know. I
film for
think
sure.
I like the last 10 minutes. The
Oh, I
fight.
like them. I
I
like them a lot, but it's just like it just finishes off like that. So
I mean, sure.
those
I enjoyed
emotions
it as well.
don't. I would have enjoyed. I would have appreciated if those emotions stayed with me. If the film
A
let
little
me.
longer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
know what you're saying.
it's long. Yeah, it was a long movie. That is true.
I think they have to comply to Netflix ka standards as well, if I'm not
Yeah. I
wrong.
think that too.
Netflix has
Because
standards.
I
oh,
think Netflix used to have a
you still have a
runtime standard.
subscription, sir.
Hey, even I have,
I
and
don't.
I can safely say that service is sometimes shit. But it's like,
Hey, no, Netflix is
I'm
good. Netflix
listen.
is great.
I'm
We
only
need sponsorship.
I'm only filling in because I have nothing productive to say by making garbage jokes. So sorry. Go ahead.
no, it's like, it's a Minnal Murli. I don't know whether the runtime thing was ever like I don't think Netflix I don't think has too much of a say in the runtime or anything. I know they used to have
They
a say
do.
in the
I think they do because I've read a couple of reports. So there was
Hmm.
this another film which came out this year was Jagame Tandiram,
Oh yeah.
Dhanush film.
Yeah, the
And
Dhanush.
apparently they had to cut out a few scenes, a few song sequences also from the film because they had to fit it under a runtime of 2 hours 35 minutes. And
That's
apparently the whole uncut portion of the film will air on the television and may have aired on the television already, about which I don't know, on Sun TV.
if they have that much of an issue, just release it as a mini series. Who the F cares? It's Netflix.
So I think they have some certain standards because even in the directors roundtable, they said Netflix gives a certain feedback to your films and everything. So I think
Yeah.
to a certain extent you have to follow that. Maybe that's the reason they might have done for the last 10 minutes. That's what Aryan feels. I
I
don't know.
wonder.
We're just making assumptions.
I wonder what the feedback was for Martin Scorsese's Irish.
There wasn't any feedback
Who's
for
going to
that.
say anything for Martin Scorsese, man?
Buddy, you do whatever.
Yeah, you do whatever you want.
No, I think those
gave him
auto
extra
directors ko
money.
kahan they would have given any
Yeah, no
limitation.
way.
No, I would be interested what they give instructions to Adam Sandler movies, which are not uncut gems.
Sandler, baby,
Meyerowitz
make any movie
stories,
you
man.
want.
And
Make any
Meyerowitz
movie you
stories. So, but that counts as a prolific director. No? Noah
I
Baumbach
know.
is prolific only. Yeah.
want.
Yeah,
Sandler is prolific, he's prolific at making shit movies, and one movie out of 10 years. So it's like
there's no concept of a shit Adam Sandler movie. Please, it's an Adam Sandler movie only.
yeah.
That's a genre.
There's Adam Sandler movie, then there's Safdie brothers and Paul Thomas
Yeah.
Anderson and the other
Baumbach.
Baumbach
Yeah.
directed Adam Sandler movies. I think that's the
What was that?
standard, right?
Funny People also was pretty
Funny
good.
People I've heard is good.
Funny People is
Judd
good.
Apatow, right?
Funny People is
Yeah,
good.
Judd Apatow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving back.
Yes.
Our
Moving.
topic, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
You guys were mentioning COVID films, right? And I was like, how come you guys like? I know it's because Joji. Yeah, that was the one of the first films I watched. When like the COVID thing was whatever in the whole full swing and all that, and that had like one of my favorite moments about like the whole where the mask can come out, and
that is a fantastic scene.
Clever uses of like double whatever, like you're doing the whole, of course, mask as in your identity, and then it's also actual mask. And like I love how when films do that. So I think I remember that moment more specifically about that film, but I remember really liking it. Like it was very minimalist almost, right? Tension wise,
it's
and
like
very low key.
quality also.
It's very low key, right?
It's
very low key.
Yeah.
I really liked how they made it fairly poetic in a sense of the location, the characters, and everything.
Yeah.
And and it was very like it's an adaptation of Macbeth and the whole murder sequence, right? In this one, there's that tablet sequence, right? It was like really thrilling for me because you actually fear his father. You can, because of his brute strength and everything.
Strength, yeah.
So Joji was amongst my favorites.
Especially the opening overhead shots, the cinematography in general by I think it was Shahju Khalid. Yeah, it was amazing.
I think Dilish Potan is proving himself to be a good director by now, right? He has been a great actor, but he's proving himself to be a good.
All three of his films have been like
he was also
all perfect films.
He was also a great influence on sets of Malik, apparently.
Yeah, of course. I mean, because I think they're all in the same circle.
Mahesh
Narayanan, Ashik Abu, and
Dilish Potan.
They're all friends, and some other guys as well. Sham Pushkar and all these guys.
Speaking of Ashik Abu, Virus. You guys have seen Virus?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, I love it.
Fantastic movie. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
No, but the only thing I remember, I don't know if I remember it being the problem, but maybe the dynamic between is it the
Binsi?
Okay, yeah. That and the main character, I thought that was a little, or that resolved itself a little quickly. Maybe that was the only thing I remember being sort of. But otherwise, like I really like sort of these pared down versions of like Shakespearean dramas. Like it's very,
which is oxymoronic, na, in a way. It's
Huh,
like
it is
Beard
Exactly.
Town and Shakespeare.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's the interesting thing, I think. Like you minimalize all that drama thing, and then what comes out of it is
There's like a lot
something.
of subtle things also happening in the
Mm.
film
Yep.
between like different relationships that you
Yep.
actually have to like look very closely at things that are happening
Yeah.
because you might miss them in the first film. That is why it has a very good repeat quality also.
Okay. Yeah.
So I mean,
So
I
is
mean,
that
of
the
course, Fahad Fazil's
exactly?
brilliant amongst his
Yeah.
favorite
Mm.
performances for me.
We
Because
have
people
Pushpa
compare it to
out
Joker,
for
right?
Fahad Fasil fans. Pushpa is out. Pushpa.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, people compared it to Joker, I think,
What?
when it released.
Really?
hmm
Okay.
But
People are
that's,
comparing anything to anything now. Seriously.
Yeah, we've
I
already
mean,
spoken right
we've
how
done that in the past episode, so I
Yeah.
won't refrain.
Yeah, let's not.
Yeah,
Let's
Aryan, you also Aryan has already spoken about Joji. That was not in his top 5 though.
yeah.
But anyway, the other common film was The Great Indian Kitchen between Dhruv and Aryan, right? And
me
And
even
me.
Amartya,
Amartya as well.
Amartya's its
Yeah.
favorite film of.
I
I
can't
haven't seen it yet, so
I can't
please
Yeah.
shift
don't
it down.
reveal too much.
I can't shift it down. It's insane. I've watched so many movies this year. I just can't shift it down.
So, like, if you were making like a proper list, like remove
I-
the language barriers and like whatever, it'll
Yeah,
be
yeah, it's
there
still in the
up there.
top. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
It's in the top 10. I think it's in
Yep.
6 or 7.
Yeah, got it. I mean, I really like it, but I want you to rave about it, considering you like it more than me.
I think it's not even like we are talking about minimalistic. I think this movie is the prime example of minimalist.
Yeah.
Prime. I don't think dialogue is, I think, 1 or 2 lines per 5 scenes or something. It's kind of like
Yeah.
that. But it's those silences, it's those glances every second, those cracked walls, and then the dirty kitchen. It's like
Yep.
every second you feel for her.
Hmm.
And it's like Geo Baby is showing you those scenes purposefully to tell you, look at this.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of making the invisible visible, right?
yeah,
Like
it's
whatever
like,
you don't
yeah,
look
it's
at.
like cumulative scenes building and building and building on top of each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It literally I'm not ashamed to say this. When I was watching this movie, I finished this movie. 2 minutes later, my mom came in with a coffee and a plate of biscuits. I was
The
like,
irony.
so
Oh.
effing ashamed.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow, this movie made me feel that.
It's also, I think, very fitting for an Indian context, right? It's a very
Exactly.
because it really gets at the mentality of men, I think, or like
Extremely.
how much sort of for granted people take stuff.
And it's not loud. It's not
Yeah,
loud
it's not
at all.
loud at all. It's everything is muted.
Unlike the film that came last year, Anubhav Sinha's Thappad, which I quite enjoyed.
Oh, I really like Thappad.
I like
actually,
Thappad.
I would
enjoyed,
argue,
yeah.
I
I
actually like it more than
but-
Great Indian Kitchen. I will get to it. Why? Go ahead.
Hey, whoa. Where did that come from? Anyway.
No, I have my reason. I told you I have problems with Great Indian Kitchen, but
Dhruv
I
has written a
quite like it.
paper on Thappad. What do you guys
I've written a
expect?
paper on Thappad, so maybe
Oh,
Maybe
yeah,
that's
I
what
Bro, he's
remember
the
that
expert here. He's
You
the
were the
expert.
expert on Thappad. Yeah.
I'm not the expert, but like I did watch it 2-3 times.
No,
so-
I like Thappad a lot. I might as wager to say that I love it. Yeah, not in that context. Thank you. Yeah. I might as well wager to say that I love that movie, but I think Great Indian Kitchen hit me harder. It's,
that comparison would make a very good paper review, whatever.
Yeah.
Next whatever Aryan is submitting to anyone.
Why Aryan? I'm going to steal that. Aryan, you sit down. I'm using this now. But anyway,
Can you guys reference my
actually-
essay so that it
I
has some
actually
value?
noticed while watching The Great Indian Kitchen.
Yeah.
It was very evident, even the filmmaking style. So I actually made a parallel video and wrote like a silly short caption about the similarities between the two movies.
which?
And the thing that between Great Indian Kitchen and Thappad.
Okay, cool.
So the Great Indian Kitchen, as Amartya talked about it, through its use of repetition and showing the monotonicity of it all,
Yeah.
it does something truly brilliant and poetic by showing the by
Mhm.
showing those repetitions.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't even tell you ki, look what you've been ignoring. It hits you in the face with it, saying, how can you ignore this? Like, how can it's literally brewing up in your kitchen? I
Yeah.
mean, every day since years, since decades, and just take notice of it. And thank God the film just excelled on another level for me, and majority of it worked for me because of that brilliant ending.
Oh
It
yeah.
was like one of the
The
most
ending is
uplifting
very good.
endings.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
Ending is
ending is very
fabulous.
good.
Ending is fabulous.
The double, I won't spoil it for Sanjeev, but there's a moment that is an opposition to the moment that happens, and that conflict I love.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, my so I really like it, and I think one of the problems is I had very firm reference points to it. Like I was like, oh, this is from that feminist film, which is like seminal to every feminist film, made by Chantal Ackerman.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
If anyone has 4 hours to spare and is willing to watch what Great Indian Kitchen is doing
Hmm.
double the length,
Got
then I would recommend it.
got it.
And then there is The Assistant by Kitty Green, which is another film I really
Absolutely
love.
love that movie. Absolutely love
Which
it.
is
Can we
another
rave about
film
that movie? That is
in another
fantastic.
episode. Yes, we
Yeah,
will.
fantastic movie. Holy shit.
But so that was those two were my reference points. So I guess the style wasn't like unique to me as much as it was effective, but it wasn't like, oh, revolutionary ki, oh my god, the
Mhm.
repetition kar raha hai and all that, like whatever.
It was
So that
revolutionary to me in the Indian context. Okay,
it
like
was,
yeah,
yeah, yes. And in the Indian context, it probably even gains more value because it's
exactly.
standing in opposition
Mhm.
to louder sort of style of filmmaking,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
My problem with it is that firstly, there's one subplot which I think is very clumsily handled with the Facebook stuff about empowerment and everything. I think that happens towards the end of the film and it's very clumsily handled, I think. And the bigger
Okay.
problem I think I have with it is that what Thappa does is makes all women more, or makes people who choose domestic or domesticity as their profession, it doesn't go against it. I think Great Indian Kitchen is very oppositional in that sense. Like it thinks that the idea of liberation is dancing. I'm not simplifying it. I mean that in a way where the kitchen work is basically regressive and then creativity is kind of championed. I think it doesn't find that balance of making of getting both of them as something that can coexist. Just saying that, I think it kind of betrays a certain complexity that Thappad, I think, achieves in one way.
I
We'll
think
discuss. The only reason I'm not going into spoilers is because Sanjeet not seen it.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, I understand.
I think I got your point, but I don't think I saw it like that. I
got
think
it.
I don't think they say I don't think it is trying to show that kitchen work is regressive and
Yeah,
liberation is like that. I think only kitchen work, that's the only thing you are allowed to do.
yeah,
That's literally the only thing you're allowed to do. Any other
yeah.
thing you are either so exhausted to do or you are so busy that you can't find the time to do anything else
No,
because of the exhaustion. Yeah.
yeah. I think then the final images kind of feel more like they're, to me, felt like they're more alluding to this thing I said rather than
Hmm.
the subtler version of it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, what's on the image is how it is,
Yeah,
being imparted as information. And the
yeah.
final scene is the dance scene. So yeah, I can understand why you would get that. Yeah, got
Yes,
it.
Sanjeet. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay,
Look
yeah.
forward to your thoughts.
Sure, my friend.
Uh, yeah.
Okay. We can move forward to another
Two films are
film.
left. Yeah.
I have three.
Oh yes, sorry, three films are left. Yes.
Yeah. So we'll move on to Karnan, which all four of us have seen as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean,
You guys rave about it.
Karnan.
I will listen. I'll listen. You guys rave about it. I have seen the movie. I
Sanjeet,
love the
go for
movie.
it.
Yeah,
Rave
Love
it.
the movie.
I think I don't know if I've ever spoken about this in any of the episodes, but I love, like, I think I've spoken about Periyarum Perumal in one of the episodes.
Hmm.
I think I did, right?
Mm.
Where it was more. I think I rewatched. Oh, I think it was the August month where we did that whole thing. So basically, I'd rewatched everything. So Mari Selvaraj has this very good quality that I spoke about that time as well. He bases his film in those landscapes, and through his techniques, his certain techniques, his hacks. He gives you a very 360 view of the place.
I was thinking while watching Karnan today that you had said that, and that was a key thing that kept
Yeah,
on ringing in my head. So thank you
I
for
think
yeah.
it's
that.
both
Thank you.
Selvaraj as well as Paranji. I think both of
Because
them
Yes.
do that.
Selvaraj is a protege of Paranjit, no?
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So they both have the same techniques. So it's more like you shoot a lot and then like use like
Mm.
efficient editing to show a lot of it,
Lot of
so
it.
that
Mhm.
subconsciously you're just absorbing a lot of
Yeah,
the
it's
world.
always something is there always. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
never
something's
a
happening.
sort of
Yeah,
stationary world or whatever. Like
it's not,
everything
and
around you
the
is sort of.
tempo is also a little higher in
Yeah,
terms of
yeah,
the
it
pitch
is.
of the kind of things that they want to do. Which is very
Yep.
natural and very
Mm.
rooted towards rooted with the landscape of the place it is based in. So I mean, very much like Periyarum Perumal, Karnan also has a lot of similar themes.
Mhm.
Of course, I mean it should have, because I think uh, Periyarum Perumal was on a smaller scale, and this one amplifies that a lot with
Mm.
Dhanush's reach, and this being certainly a mass kind of a film. Like it
Mhm.
reaches out to more people in general,
Mm.
and this has more of a hero arc than Periyarum Perumal did.
Mm.
Although it you can look at it as like a more like a spiritual um, film with respect to Periyarum Perumal, like can be
Mm.
based in the same world as well,
Yep.
very much so.
Mm.
So I mean, yeah, I mean, loved the film, absolutely loved it when I watched it, and what an experience it was, because
Mm.
it's not just one thing that is working in the film. It's like
Mm.
almost everything is working in the film. I
Yep.
mean, I did have a few problems with it, but they're like very, very minor. And
Mm.
I just mentioned that just because I don't want to put it as a flawless film, otherwise
Mm.
people have like a lot of expectations from it.
Mm.
But it's a really, really, really solid film. I loved
Yep.
it. What did you think? You
Yeah.
just watched it.
I just watched it. Yeah, yeah. So I think what you had said about the sort of 360-degree view of everything, I think that helped me get past some of the editing choices in the beginning, right? Because I was just
Mm-hmm.
it is a very conscious and like very specific rhythm to the film that is
Absolutely, yeah.
there. And in the beginning, I was just like, I don't know if jumping so many places in 2 seconds, like I just wanted it to stay a little bit with one moment so that I can get a
Mm-hmm.
grasp of something. What was happening was before I could get into
Mm-hmm.
the emotion of it, it already switched to another
Something
instance.
else.
And I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, wait, that is not like, where are we going? Sort of, I was a bit sort of confused.
Mm-hmm.
But what that does is, and especially because the film is about mobility, like social mobility, and not mobility, sorry, mobilizing a village together to fight against
Mm-hmm.
oppression, like people who
Mm-hmm.
have been oppressing them for so long. The collective weight of getting so many images of like 360 degrees of everyone all kind of collide together and make this really experience, like make this collective
Mm-hmm.
experience really, really good. I
Yeah,
guess there are problems. Like I think the hero arc kind of jars with the whole idea that they need a hero. Like it's
I
not
know,
like
I
a
get it. Yeah,
collective sort of effort, which is fine. Like I was
yeah,
fine
yeah,
with
yeah.
that. But I've said this before. I am a huge fan of films that challenge my point of view. And
Yeah.
I would not like, as much as oppression has taken place, I wouldn't like outright advocate myself as someone like going against them by violence, I guess, or like whatever they go by, right? My idea is that this film, there is a catharsis. Like
Mm-hmm.
what happens in the film, I felt that it should happen. Like I
Mm-hmm.
didn't, it wasn't like, oh, my moral senses woke up and I was like, oh, what is he doing? Like why is he going?
Mm-hmm.
It made sense to me, and I think that I was very like happy to be challenged in my sort of beliefs. And I think
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
I am mostly appraised for it. I really liked it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Aryan, you also quite liked, right?
Yeah, so Karnan, I think a lot of people won't notice this right now, including a lot of the cinephile Indian community. But I think Karnan is going to stand out way ahead in the future as one of those benchmark masala films that has
Mhm.
incredibly pushed the boundaries of what a masala mainstream movie stands for in India right now.
Mhm.
Because even though it was released right before the bad and devastating second wave, it managed on raving at the box office, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it even narratively, visually, emotion in terms of emotions, for me at least, it pushed all the masala mainstream format, all the masala convention that we
Hmm.
come to expect from a film like
Hmm.
this, right? That
Yeah,
we
yeah,
come to expect growing up from these films. It pushes all those boundaries, and with this and Pebbles, which was the
Which is
shortlisted.
Amartya's other favorite film.
yeah.
With this and Pebbles and all these incredible Tamil films that have been coming out recently, Tamil cinema this year again proved it proved its incredible potential at telling these essential stories, having
I
such
mean,
a heavy,
Tamil
striking
cinema has
resemblance,
always
right?
been on the top
Hmm.
from the beginning of, like, I
Mm.
think, like from the 60s, 70s only Tamil cinema has been on top, like before Malayalam cinema. Like, I think I recently only I saw this random post on Facebook where someone said Tamil cinema is gradually reaching the levels of Malayalam cinema. Boss, Tamil cinema has been on top from way before. Like,
It's
they've been
it's
But
just we are
pioneers in
discovering it
everything.
now. It's just we are discovering it
Yeah.
now.
no,
I
yeah,
think
Crowd,
I
yeah,
also no, but
that's the
you said this before, no, Sanjeet? Like Tamil cinema and I think Telugu cinema to some level are so have such a
grandiose.
distinct identity to themselves,
very
and they are like
distinct,
very
very distinct.
unapologetic about how
Absolutely,
grandiose they can be, and I think
yeah,
that's the
yeah.
reason why, because we now have more of a Western criticism ka whatever thing, right?
Influence,
Ki
yeah,
everything should be a little subtle and everything should be
yeah, yeah, yeah,
realistic and everything, which
yeah,
is why
yeah.
I guess the whole Malayalam cinema
Mm.
feels better, like feel
Yeah.
quote
I
unquote
know, I
better
know what you're saying. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because it
Yeah.
is
There's
grounded.
nuance. There's
It is more
nuance.
Sensibilities.
grounded, right? Yeah.
But
Yeah.
here's the thing. I think I've spoken to you guys about this before as well. Tamil cinema doesn't have like a very fine line dividing art cinema and
Hmm.
commercial cinema.
No,
It's,
it
you
Hmm.
have to have both of them in there.
Yep.
Like, you see a Vetrimaran film as well,
Yep.
it'll have both of it. And it's not
Yep.
from now. You could look at back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. You had Kamal Hassan making all those
Hmm.
films. Like, not just Hey Ram, everything else that he made.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And all the experiments that he was doing with Sangeetam Srinivas Rao. He made Pushpak, which was like a silent film.
Hmm.
And he had the one where he played at Wolf. I don't remember the name, but it's something with in Appu Raja. It was a Hindi dub name
Mhm.
of the film. So I mean, you've seen experiments like these happening, which aren't restricted to just pandering to a certain section of audience. It panders to everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to make films for everyone in Tamil Nadu. You're not
Hmm.
just making it for Chennai audiences.
Hmm.
So they have a conscious effort to make it for everyone. That is
Hmm.
why they have a very, very distinct voice. Even
Hmm.
Telugu cinema, which is much criticized for its certain choices and
Hmm.
ideas, it is very specific to the audiences there.
Hmm.
They don't set out to make a film for everyone. They set out to make a film first for the Telugu audiences, the Andhra Pradesh and
Hmm.
Hyderabad
Telangana.
and Telangana,
Yeah.
and then it caters to everyone else.
Yeah.
So you
Because
can. So sometimes what happens is we also tend to look at films with our set of context, which
yeah.
is wrong actually,
Yeah.
because you have to.
You try to be universal, you can never be universal.
Yeah.
Always try to be
Exactly,
specific. Specificity is universal because
Yeah.
exactly.
that's how
Yeah,
it is.
It's like what
Hmm.
Amane talks about in his interviews, right? Okay, we can make films about having universal themes, but at the end of the day, they are going to cater to the hardcore audience that it's aimed
Yeah.
at,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 Transition. Solid.
Yeah.
So this is what all of our
Already getting a
favorite.
knack of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's safe to say, yeah.
yeah.
Favorite for all of
It
us
has
this
to
year.
be, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know for Amartya, but
No,
favorite
Amartya
for
के लिए तो
me
Great
as well.
Indian Kitchen, sorry, but yes, sorry.
What's your favorite, Amane?
Uh,
Great
Which
Indian
movie are you guys talking
Kitchen,
about? Great Indian
Disciple.
Kitchen is my favorite.
Disciple. Yeah,
Okay. We did not
yeah.
talk about Sarpatta, right?
No,
Yes.
we'll
Oh,
talk
yeah,
about
yeah.
later. We'll talk about later.
Okay,
We'll
okay,
talk about Disciple first.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
That's the
Yeah.
other Netflix
Yeah.
Yeah,
release. Yeah.
Was
yeah.
Sarpatta on Netflix?
No, no, no,
Oh,
no.
No, no,
This Disciple.
Disciple.
Yeah.
okay. Disciple is not on the list for the very simple reason that I saw it last year. But anyway,
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You were given the screener.
no, not
yeah.
really.
The
But anyway,
common people were watching it this year.
The high on films critic. Amartya.
cut that
But yeah,
shit out.
but yeah, Disciple.
Yes, Disciple. What to say about the Disciple? Actually, there's a lot to say, but like, it's strange that that Aryan had mentioned about the whole specificity thing, because I think
Hmm.
Tamhane is the most international filmmaker out of all of the
Amongst,
people we've talked
yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah. Yeah,
he least embraces Indian style. I think he is much more of
yeah.
I think inspired by Michael Haneke
Peron.
and like other people. Because Disciple gave me flashbacks to the piano teacher. It's a film I didn't think about I'll get a flashback to while watching The
That is
Disciple.
some comparison.
But it is, I think uska camera work is so specific to like that European art house camera
Yeah,
work that
yeah.
I think it kind of, I mean, it's a easy favorite to have for cinephiles and like people who are into like making into cinema
Or
and like whatever,
artists.
or artists. It's an easy film to like because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's about art
Them.
and like
I think it captures the frustration you feel, like when you are loving an art form, but
yeah,
your art form
art
doesn't
form
love
is
you
not,
back. Yeah, it doesn't love you
or
back.
the people around it don't really care that you care about that art form.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
yeah. And
I mean, it's a horror film.
It is, yeah.
exactly, it is. It is a horror film.
Even though we are joking about this right now, but can we just take a moment and just talk about the brilliance of that one scene at that bar, rooftop bar, or
Yeah, the
whatever
Throw
it
critic
where
is?
and
he
the
throws the
When
Yeah.
water.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
the direction in that scene and the acting, the
yeah.
way
Hmm.
that scene showed how devastating it could be, how
Yeah.
devastating it is when you actually come to know that all your life you were
Has
believing
been.
in this. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
just it's oh my god, I don't that is the that was a crescendo for me in terms of a
Yeah.
movie
Yeah.
watching experience. And I still remember I gave that film an A. Okay, I watched it
Mm,
in May right after it dropped on Netflix
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
officially.
mm,
Yeah, right after it dropped on Netflix, I watched it and I gave it an A. And now when I look back at the entire year, the films that I've watched and how majority of them, even though they have not disappointed me, but they have fallen short, right?
mm,
And now
Hmm.
I'm like, why did I not give it an A plus? Because
mm.
that film,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
oh my God, Disciple was amazing.
Yeah, I think like what do you think of the film like compared to Court? Because I actually love both the films quite a bit. Court I almost think is more experimental. Like I think at least
Exactly. Yeah.
a Disciple may there is a actual hero's arc or whatever
Is that a
arc.
hero
Failure.
though? Yeah.
Hero's failures arc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. uh,
Yeah.
which
I
is why
think
it's so
I
so
think
much
the
of our favorite, right? Because it's a hero who fails.
I think the best I think the best part about Disciple, which I will always remember, are those bike scenes.
Yeah, yeah.
The
I mean,
bike
yeah,
scenes
yeah,
are
yeah, yeah.
great. They
It's
are
like
really
they are
good. Yeah.
really good. I'm like, oh no.
Talking
Make
Yeah.
of
those.
talking of creating that sense of poetic
Yeah,
despair
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
building up onto that monotonicity and repetitiveness, the way that second scene, the last bike scene, is directed. I kind of did a short analysis on that scene,
So
on
is
that
this the
aspect
one
of
where
the
he
film.
stops?
Yeah, where he
Yeah, yeah,
stops, where he takes off his earphones, and then the film cuts from slow motion to
And
it's
then he
just
looks
yeah.
Really.
is that the time he
When
looks at
the
the billboard of
no,
or
that
no,
is
that's
later.
later.
This is
Okay,
the
okay.
time when the noise of
Wow,
the
I
city,
remember
the
like a
noise,
lot of it. I've seen like really long
exactly,
back. Yeah.
and that speaks for a lot of the filmmaking, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that scene, so basically he's listening to Mai's recordings, right? And
Hmm.
after all that realization, he takes off those earphones while he's driving,
Yeah.
and the sound of the city, the crowd, the noise of
Yeah.
Mumbai overshadows that recordings noise,
Yeah.
right? And it's just that's how you do
it's like both, right?
visuals.
It's like both, right? It's like showcasing that. Okay, I mean, I kind of sort of, you know, I think I should get out of it. I think I should grow out of it, because what's
Mm.
the point? What's the point of dedicating so much of my life to something?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which won't give anything back
which
to
won't
you.
give anything back to me. and
Hmm.
and the other thing is that the noise and everything is like the world is moving away from me.
Yeah.
Exactly. The
Yeah.
technological influx as well, right?
Yeah,
Because they have
Hmm.
that
they
three
have that.
three movements he has, right?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah,
time
yeah.
shifts. Yeah.
Time
and
shifts. Yeah.
and there's subtle things. This is I mentioned this another film that everyone should watch, with this Satyajit Ray's Jal Sagar, right? So both these
Hmm.
films have these subtle themes about technological
Technology.
influx, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, yeah,
characters
yeah.
trying to figure mix in, trying to
Ah,
mold
yeah.
themselves to
Mm.
settle. And there's these subtle
Yeah.
scene, there's subtle scene in The Disciple as well, where what's the main character's name?
Sharad.
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 Where Sharad's character holds on to those cassettes, right?
Mm.
And
Hmm.
he doesn't want to let
Donating
go of
them. Yeah.
them. Yeah,
Letting
and
go of past. Yeah.
even in the
Mm.
film's first half, he's having that little exhibition outside,
Oh, yeah. But
and
no
no
one
one
is
is coming.
buying them.
Yeah, it's just oh my god.
Of course,
Hmm.
no one will buy them. The cassettes, who will buy? Like, basically, it's like artist obsession is so much with something that
Yeah,
it's so niche. Also, no, it's like talking
Yeah.
about such a
Yeah.
exactly.
niche
I,
thing. Where
I'll give a recent example. Remember that an Orson Welles film came out in 2018?
the other side of the
Yeah,
Uh,
hood
yeah.
or something like
Netflix.
Before
that.
they know me.
Yeah,
Everybody.
Yeah,
Netflix. His last film that Netflix helped to finance him.
yeah, the
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
side
yeah.
of the
Yeah.
yeah. But
Other
that
side of
film
the.
is so niche. But that film is so niche. If I talked about it with a normal friend of mine. Like
Mhm.
Hmm.
they are like, what's the big deal about it?
Hmm.
Mhm.
Mm.
I'm like, this is the last film of Orson Welles. What are you talking? And then I stopped, and then I'm like, oh yeah,
That's why you remain quiet about it.
yeah.
Amartya,
That's why I remain
don't you
quiet.
think for me
Masterclass
more
by
than
Dhruv.
Yeah,
That is my master. You have quiet is like the what is the whole thing? Quiet is always smart or something
yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I have to pretend to like Spider-Man. Nowhere. Nowhere.
Uh-huh,
No way home.
uh-huh. I'm not
Okay.
even going to Atrangire. Okay, let's not.
Yeah. Let's be
but
kind to
don't
each
you think
other.
No, but see
Amartya more than
sorry, go ahead, Arvind.
Sorry, yeah, Aryan, go ahead.
more than that, don't you think Amartya it's about for me the thing that bothered me the most is about people complaining about how problematic that film was. I mean, it's a film that was made decades back,
Oh,
right?
the
Yeah,
other
yeah,
I
side
mean,
of
I
the
don't
wind.
Yeah.
Okay,
understand.
okay.
I don't understand. Do you guys? I think it's a problem that guys don't read nowadays.
Yeah.
Just because a movie came out in 2018 doesn't mean it was made in 2018. You utter
Exactly. Like
dumbasses.
every film is a product of its own time, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
if your silly asses can't comprehend that fact,
The
and oh my
the
god, yeah.
amusement park came out in 2021. It was a movie that was made in 1975. Read the goddamn poster. Read anything.
this is this has turned into some you basically become Sharad at the moment the critics basically say something to him. Like I mean that I really like that scene in general, but I whenever I had written about this film, I remember I really loved the dad angle. The whole
Hmm,
he's actually becoming his dad, which
yeah,
I think
exactly.
is the
Very
Hmm.
most heartbreaking thing to me. Like because you're just following in a step where you know you don't
Yeah.
want to go. Right? It's the sense that he knows
It's
he doesn't like
inevitable.
that. But it is inevitable. It's so
Yeah.
painfully realized in the film also. And I think
Yeah.
the final scene, some people think it's a bit hopeful. I just don't buy it.
Oh, the
I think
last
it's
song when he's in the
yeah,
it's
metro,
when
when he
someone
gets
else
lost in
melancholy.
the crowd.
yeah, and
It's
he just
The
melancholy in
gets
its
song
peak.
gives me
I
goosebumps
just
every time.
yeah, I thought it was just sad. Like I thought it was
Yeah.
just like he becomes a publisher or whatever, like the for
I'm
that because
getting goosebumps
yeah.
right now also
You
thinking
know,
about it.
I've been working on some of these 2021 lists right now while I'm
Yeah.
down with COVID and just thinking about that last frame from The Disciple. I just want to rewatch that
I want to rewatch that
2 minute
movie
section
also.
and just cry. Like I want to cry, soak myself into
Yeah,
tears while watching those
I
ending
get
Yeah.
2 minutes.
it.
It's just amazing, and it is like one of the most transcendent character studies I've watched in Indian
Yeah,
cinema
Yeah.
in this
yeah,
space,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's just
Honestly, make it a double bill with piano teacher. Yeah, you'll
yeah.
want to leave your profession and
That's some
inside Llewyn
comparison, right?
Davis and inside Llewyn Davis.
Inside Llewyn
All
Davis is
three,
very good.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
all
Triple
three,
bill
and you'll never want to become an artist or like
Arre,
whatever.
this film
or
spotting
live
wala
only.
podcast na,
This that's
Yes,
anyway
yes,
not a problem. I don't have
plug,
tenants anyway.
plug them,
Don't be an
Aryan, plug
artist.
them. We'll link them in the thing. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
No, no,
you
Aryan,
two
what?
already follow him and also.
That it doesn't matter if I follow him. No, we'll invite him later. Plug him. What were you talking about?
No, it's just this is what they mention. One of the members on one of the guys mentions this on the Film Spotting podcast that it has a lot of similarities to Inside Llewyn Davis as well. And they also talked about how Netflix has this tendency of just dumping out these niche art films on their platform. The same thing happened with Orson Welles at the other side of the wind and
Mm.
all. It's
Yeah.
just sad. Just sad.
I mean, I did recommend this to people in my house, and I don't think they made it past the first 20 minutes. So I did my thing.
Oh, I watched it with my dad, and he was like, "Court was better, but I don't mind this as well." And I'm like, "Okay,
Your dad
thank
has
God."
good
Your
taste.
dad has good taste,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we watch films quite often.
Court is really intriguing also. We'll talk about that sometime. It's very,
Before we
very.
move on, I really like that scene where his guru is sitting like when he's old and he's making tea for him and he's
Hmm.
sitting and you think he's passed away.
Yeah,
Then he goes,
yeah. Yeah. No, but
And
I think there's the whole undercurrent that he actually might not be that talented. That's the other thing, right?
Yeah,
that's
Because
not
yeah.
undercurrent. That's not undercurrent.
his peers
That's
are
current.
basically doing well.
That's
I mean,
current.
even that scene was fantastic where he's just scrolling through Facebook. Like he goes
Oh
from link
yeah,
to link
like
to link.
looking at typing what he wants to say, but like
Yeah.
deletes it, which is a sentiment that is not uncommon, I think, to me at
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
So yes. Let's
Yeah.
go to Sarpatta
Then-
Parambarai, which is
Mm.
on all three, all on yours and Amartya's list. Right?
Amartya's, yeah. Mine
Yeah.
and Amartya's.
Yeah.
So, Amartya, you ahead with Sarpatta.
No, you go. It's fine. No issue. Go.
I mean, so here's the thing. I think Paranjit has actually found his form back again after 2 films with Rajnikant, Kala and Kavali, which to be very fair, they weren't bad or anywhere like average films, to be honest, because you have to consider it's a Rajnikant film as well. They can't be Paranjit films and Rajnikant films together. I mean, it was
Weird
like it was,
combo, by the way, right? Just think
but
about that
lovely
for a
combo.
second.
Lovely combo. It's better than that Shiva and Rajnikant combo, which gave us Annate, which is like a horror show. But then you look at, he was doing films with Karthik Subbaraj and he did films with Paranjit, which was Kala and Kavali. I mean, good films to look at if you're looking at Rajnikant's films in the last 10, 12 years. But I think this is where Paranjit always thrives in. This is his genre. And, I was extremely skeptical about Sarpatta Parambarai, considering it was a boxing film. And I was
Fun.
exhausted because a week back we discussed Tufan. I was like, yeah, I mean, what more can he do? Like, what more can happen? And
This
it
is
was everything opposite.
this
I
is
mean-
This is Minnal Mulli for the boxing. This is Minnal Mulli for the boxing and sports. stuff.
Yeah.
This
I heard
is
Mukka Bus comparisons, right? For this.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
This is the best sports movie I have seen in a very long time. Very.
I mean,
very
you
long
haven't
time.
seen 83?
No, I haven't.
So-
Thank you.
Pity you, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's very similar what we discussed, how his style works as well. It's also a very quick cutting and very fast paced moving.
Movie
so you
flies,
get a-
man. How long
Yeah,
is it?
it
3
flies.
hours. It flies.
It is
Holy
fairly
crap.
long, but it doesn't feel that long because it literally moves at so far, and also has a 360-degree thing
Yeah.
that I told you about.
You know the
Like,
best
because
part
you
I
get a
like.
whole-
You know the best part I like. The best part I
Mhm.
like is the second half when he, after Arya's character, like every sports film biopic kind of sports film template, there is a fall phase, right? I love the fact that he doesn't waste a second just exploring why he is falling. He's just quick cutting it. He's just falling. He's quick cutting it. He's like, you know this. Just it's getting into your head.
Yeah.
You know this. Just go. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Just
I mean,
move.
so that's the best part. I think it knows where its cliches lie and embraces the crescendos of it. It doesn't necessarily delve into the crust and troughs of it, just like the best parts of it, and it's just the best parts cut.
Wave analogy going on here.
Yeah.
Good reminder of like
Engineer-
physics IB stuff. Yeah.
All of us have studied science, but anyway, yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I'm doing my PhD on science anyway.
So for Amartya, it's fortunate then. Sorry. For me, it's
You
unfortunate.
deserve that break from watching movies.
Please
More
don't
than
remind
enough.
me.
But
yeah.
no, apart from that, how funny do you guys think it is that this film was released during the same week
Yeah,
as
we
Tufan?
It
On the
destroyed
same
Tufan.
platform.
It destroyed Tufan.
Yeah. Arey,
Well,
boss,
I don't think you
Tufan was an
needed
abomination.
yeah, I don't think you needed another film to destroy. It just wasn't a good film like
Self-destruct.
Tufan. Yeah.
No, but it's like I can recommend to people, right? Why are you watching Tufan? Watch Sarpatta Parampara. I can literally put
You
the
can still
alternative right
recommend,
there.
even if Sarpatta didn't come,
Mhm.
you would recommend Mukkabaz nicely. Like it's
It's
just
still in 2000. It's still in 2017. There are
दो
people who
second
want
पीछे है
direct.
यार.
Yeah.
अच्छा डायरेक्ट इसी साल
Direct EC साहब.
कुछ
Something
नहीं हो
very
सकता
latest.
उनका.
No. Yeah.
There are people who want that.
But yeah, Sarpatta Parambarai was really, really good. I mean, so it was not just like, so I really don't like Arya either in most of his films, but Paranjit made Arya also look really good, and Pashupati was
Holy
amazing.
shit! Oh yeah.
He was
Holy
brilliant in it. The way he's doing all his body language and all of that, it's like some lovely
So
stuff.
if I was to like ask you if we like combine our Hindi films and this ka list, how many Hindi films would actually make the cut?
Sardar Udham and Sandeep Pink.
Hero.
For me.
Yeah.
Sardar Udham would be like
Sardar Udham is all of your favorites, right? Like literal favorites.
Yeah.
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 I
Even
think this is
Sandeep Pink is
above Sardar Udham for me. I think I have to
Okay.
check my list.
No, not for me.
I think I have to
mean-
check my list a bit. I'm not too sure about
Okay.
that.
I think Gilli Pucci is gonna make my list regardless, but apart from that, I don't think much. Sandeep or Pinky, I think, but lower down maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think from all Indian films, I'm pretty sure that the only films that would make my original like top 15 list or whatever that ends up coming
Mhm.
out towards the end of January, hopefully. I think
This is
only
for Indian
Sardar
films
Udham
or
and
like
Sardar-
this-
no, overall.
Oh, for foreign
Yeah.
and English. And
2021.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or in
Okay.
English, everything. For that, I
Yeah.
think Sardar Udham and The Disciple would make the list. Nothing else.
I think Sardar Udham and Sarpatta for these
Hmm.
two.
Wow.
And Great Indian Kitchen, like these two.
Yeah. I was about to
These
say.
two.
Joji will also make up, I think.
Mm.
I mean, I love it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is our list of best Indian films that we saw this year. Wide variety of films.
We saw a
stuff
lot.
that-
There were
Yeah,
a lot.
You guys saw a lot,
yeah.
yeah.
No,
I mean,
they
I watched a
actually
lot of
were
other
a lot.
Malayalam films also.
Yeah.
They actually
there
were a
were,
lot.
Mm.
I mean, I liked Master also. So
I also like Master, by the way. That movie is actually good. The last act, notwithstanding, the movie was good. Just saying.
I mean, I'm okay with the last act also. But anyway, so wide variety of films, stuff
yeah.
that most of you would have heard about.
Mm.
People listening to this podcast would have heard about and have not seen. This gives you assurances to actually dive into those films as soon as possible.
Yeah, and then you watch
And-
Pebbles,
Pebbles,
right?
Amartya's favorite.
I have to, right?
Korangal, yeah.
I have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah.
submission. Was a submission. I automatically
Yeah.
never actually make it.
Never actually goes in. Yeah. Wonder why.
I mean, I've not seen the film, so I can't judge.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're going to stretch a short film into a feature length film, this is what happens.
Okay, enough. I mean,
Is there
I think
any way
we've-
to watch it? I mean, there must be the way to watch it, but yeah. Yeah.
ways which our
Ways,
dealer sir can provide us with. Amartya dealer Amartya.
Yeah.
Cut that shit out, I beg you. People are
We'll cut.
Shady corner guy. The man who walks the nightmare rallies with
Bradley Cooper.
Telegram access. Okay. Anyway.
Once upon a time in Calcutta.
Yeah,
Once upon a time
but,
in no, he's from Siliguri. No?
Yep.
Once upon a time in a dark alley in Siliguri.
Yep.
Amartya was just chilling.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
only chilling. Okay,
So
anyway.
our other list will come out later only, now because we won't
Yeah.
be able to see like the English stuff as soon as
I
the
think
Aus-
my year ends on Jan 31st. So I'm
My year
Oh,
ends
that
on
early?
February. My year ends on February.
yeah.
my ends March or April.
I think I'll be able to watch everything. That'll be like probably the
Okay.
bigger stuff by the end of this month. So I'm keeping this month. So
Licorice Pizza will release for you by then also, right?
no, it's releasing. No release date has
Ah,
been.
no
Oh,
release
oh,
date.
have you guys heard a hero is releasing in India apparently?
Oh wow.
21st January it's coming on Prime only, right?
Yeah, but on February I think it's releasing in theaters or something.
Oh wow.
Which one?
What?
A hero,
a
Asghar
hero.
Farhadi.
Theaters
Asghar
won't
Farhadi.
reopen, man. They've
Yeah, theaters won't
cancelled
reopen.
films like Valimai and RRR, which were like big
Hmm.
releases.
Holy shit,
A
the fact
hero
that
किसका
Triple R
है?
got pushed up was insane. Pushback.
Yeah.
Hero Asghar Farhadi. New.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
But
that might make someone's list. I'm guessing because he generally hits it out of the park most of the time, at least. So,
yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully,
Okay.
hopefully, yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is the end of the episode. We've
Mm.
covered most of the Indian films that have released this year, stuff that we really enjoyed and liked,
Mm.
and you should watch them too. If you have any more suggestions, and you can DM us on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram at queensdead.film podcast. You can follow Aryan on his Instagram page called Aryan Talks Film. You can follow Amartya on his Instagram page called amartya.acharya, if I'm right. Right?
Amartya 25. You make that.
Amartya 25. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting. It
Yeah.
isn't very unique now, like Aryan Talks Film. So
I did not mean to make it unique.
you also
I'm-
become Amartya Talks Film.
I don't talk film.
Amita writes film
Right.
reviews.
And Dhruv at Terminal Cinema. You can follow me at Pixel Baba as well. You can please follow us on Spotify. It really helps us reaching out to more people. Please share it. We'll be very thankful and we'll appreciate it. And we'll give you 2 laddus. Thank you. This is the end of the episode. Khatam.